Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. This is just going to be an amalgamation of random bookish shit that I do for the next week. So we're going to start with my December wrap up because I want to put these books away. But equally I only read 15 books and 10 of those were in my 10 book takedown, so I've literally just recorded the end of that and talked about all these books. So we're just going to quick fire, here's the book, here's my rating. I can't remember. I think there's only one I don't have a physical copy of, so I'll talk about that one first. So the first book I read, not the first book, but like the first book we're going to talk about is a novella by Portia McIntosh. It was like 60 pages long and it was called One Wild Night, and I gave that a 3-star. Then I read books. Did I read both of these? I think I did. I read books 1 and 2 of The Bridge Kingdom, so The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen by Daniel L. Jensen, and I gave them both 4 stars. I think maybe this was a 4.5, but for the sake of this, 4 stars. Then we've got A Fellowship of Games and Fables by J. Penner. This was a 4-star as well, I think. My ratings are very wishy-washy. I kind of just rate stuff and then change my mind. So whatever I say in my wrap-up is usually what I say is the actual rating. Because if that's how I feel after I've sat with the book for a while, that's probably the accurate rating. Then we've got Snow Love Lost. I think originally I gave this a 3-star, but I might put it down to a 2 because I don't remember a single thing that happened in this. Maybe a 2.5 is more fair. But again, another Portia McIntosh book. Then Jingle Spells by Emily Grimoire. I originally had this as an ARC and I liked it so much I bought a physical copy. So again, this was a 4-star. I really enjoyed this one. But it is book 2 of the series and I didn't know that, so I need to read book 1. Then we've got Duke by Jessica Peterson. This was another 4-star. You'll notice that most of these are 4 stars. Then I've got the Love Lines series by Cara Bastone. So we've got Seatmate, Sweet Talk and Call Me Maybe, which were all 4 stars as well. Loved these were all audiobooks. Then we have got The Mating Game by Lana Ferguson. Originally I gave this a 3. I think I'm going to lower it to a 2.5 because I did not have a good time reading this. Really didn't. Probably my least favourite Lana Ferguson book so far. Then my actual least favourite book of the entire of 2025, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, 1 star. Wish I DNF'd it. I'm going to sell this immediately. I don't want it on my shelves. That one was not, like, the content was fine, but I didn't gel with it. It was not for me in the slightest. Then another book I will be getting rid of, Daddy Issues by Kate Goldbeck. This was a 2-star. Then I actually rounded out the year with 2 5-stars. So we've got The Second Death of Locke, which is a fantasy, and The Other Side of Now, which I would classify as lit fic, or women's fiction, I guess. And both of these were 5 stars. So I think possibly the next clip you'll see is a mini book haul, because despite the fact I just hauled over 50 books across December, I did go out and spend my book vouchers that I got for Christmas immediately. So I have a book haul coming very soon. As promised, the next bit of this video is a little book haul. I ended up spending all of my book vouchers I got for Christmas pretty much immediately. I don't know if everyone does this, but I constantly, like, my basket on the Waterstones app constantly has stuff in it. So a lot of them are things I had in there. Some of them are from Vinted, just because I thought I'd left £1 each, worth it. And then very randomly I bought a box set, which is what we're going to start talking about. I went into TK Maxx and I found the Sherlock Holmes collection. So this is 6 books of the Sherlock Holmes series by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I do think this is missing one. I think there's a book 2 that's not in here, which is weird because if it's the collection you'd think they'd have all the books. But this has got The Valley of Fear and His Last Beau, The Return of Sherlock Holmes, The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, The Hounds of Baskerville, A Study in Scarlet and The Sign of 4, and The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So that is what we've got here. And this was actually so cheap. So on the little label thing here, it says it originally sold for £47.99. I got it for £12.99. So I think that's a good deal, and I do want to read Sherlock Holmes anyway. Like, I think I already have down here somewhere the first one, just The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So I thought I'm just going to dive straight in and read all of them, because I really loved, there's a film with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. I really like that, and once I've read this I want to watch the BBC series with Benedict Cumberbatch. So I fear how annoying I'm going to be after I watch that show. Then the next one I got, this one is from Waterstones, and I got it with a book voucher. I got At Wit's End by Bailey Hannah. Now you may be thinking, that's book 4 in a series. Have you read that series? No, I haven't, but do I own every book in it? Yes I do. It says literally the first words on the back are single mum, so I think I'm gonna like this. I love a single parent trope. It says, single mum Whitney Hart is quite simply overwhelmed. She's struggling to raise her 10-year-old son Jonas. Her ex-boyfriend only seems to come around to help take care of his son when he's single and hoping to get back together. With Jonas acting out more than ever, Whitney enlists the help of her sister Blair to keep an eye on Jonas over summer vacation. Enter Colt, a fun-loving Wells Ranch cowboy who is tasked with giving Jonas work to do around Wells Ranch to keep him busy. In Colt, Jonas finds a mentor and a male role model for the first time in his life, and in Jonas, Colt discovers a friendship that brings a new kind of joy into his. Colt and Whit... that confused me. Colt and Whit slowly develop a friendship of their own through a shared concern for Jonas, and over the course of the summer it begins to spark into something more. The attraction and chemistry between them are hard to ignore, but Whit's insecurities and hesitancy to put trust in men causes her to pull away. As miscommunications give way to understanding, the two will discover that sometimes you have to first be broken before you can become whole, and that there's no one way to create a family. So it sounds really cute. I do want to read this whole series, maybe in one video. Don't know. But yeah, so I picked this up. I also bought, because this has been on my wish list for a while and I didn't pick it up because it didn't occur to me it was quite a short book, so I ended up buying The Summer War by Naomi Novik. It is the sprayed edge edition, and as you can see, this book is teeny tiny. It's 188 pages, I believe, so I was quite happy to just pick that up because it's something short that I can knock off my TBR quickly. So I got this one. I think the story of this one is that this girl has a brother that puts a curse on the land or on something, and then this is her trying to undo that curse with the help of her other brother. I think that's what it's about. Don't quote me on that because obviously I haven't read it, but I'm excited for this one. Also, I love the green on the edge, it's so pretty. Then I'm really excited for this one, and I've actually started it already. I've got Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and I did get the movie cover because I think Ryan Gosling is gorgeous, and I'm so excited for the film, I can't even lie. This follows Ryland Grace, who is the sole survivor on a desperate last chance mission. If he fails, humanity and Earth itself will perish. So I've heard such amazing things about this. I literally don't know a single person that hasn't rated this 5 stars. And everybody says to listen to it as an audiobook, so that is exactly what I'm doing. And so far I'm on like chapter 4 or 5, and it's so fun. He's so funny. The narrator of the audiobook is so good, and it's hilarious. So far I'm loving it, so expecting good results from reading this. Next up, again, this was bought with book vouchers. I have An Academic Affair by Jodie McAllister. This one is a rivals to lovers, I think. It says, Sadie Shaw and Jonah Fisher have known each other for 15 years and they've disliked each other for every one of them. It started with a minor altercation in an undergrad literature class, but as their academic careers developed, so did the intensity of their arguments. By the time they graduated with their doctorates, they'd embroiled in a full-on rivalry. So when a position comes up that Sadie and Jonah are both perfect for, their ongoing enmity, don't know that word, explodes into a red-hot competition. But as Sadie fights to secure her future, she realises there might be a way for both of them to get their dream job. There's just one catch: they'll have to get married first. When things get personal though, Sadie will have to keep her eye on the prize. A fake marriage isn't worth jeopardising her real career over, is it? I just thought this sounded so fun. Again, a marriage of convenience trope is one of my favourites when done right. And I absolutely love the cover actually. The colour scheme is very me. Very me. I love a blue and a pink. Then, another book that I've heard such amazing things about and I felt like I was missing out. I had FOMO for this one. The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Again, bought from Waterstones with my book vouchers. And I can't remember a thing about this and I kind of want to go in blind. I know there's like a gargoyle who calls everyone Bartholomew. That's it. That's all I know. And I am going to leave it at that because I do like a fantasy where I go in a bit blind. Like I'll only look at the synopsis, the blurb, if I'm struggling to follow what's going on. So I think most people know about this anyway, so I don't feel bad not telling you what it's about, but this is the next one I've got. And then the final few that I've picked up are actually all from Vinted, and almost all by one author. So I'll talk about the one I've actually read first. I lent my copy of this to my nan well over 2 years ago now, and I've not had it back. I don't think I'm ever going to see it again if I'm honest. So I thought I'd buy myself another copy because it is one of my favourites that I've read, and that is The Storied Life of AJ Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin. This follows AJ Fikry, who is an elderly man running a bookshop, and one day someone abandons their child in his shop and he ends up having to raise this kid, and it's just such a beautiful story. It made me cry. Absolutely love it. I haven't watched the movie though, but I do want to watch it because it stars Raj from The Big Bang Theory as AJ Fikry, and I feel like he would do a really good job of it. I just think he's quite a good actor. So this was a 5-star for me. I highly recommend it. And then finally, I've got 3 Frida McFadden books. I've got The Locked Door, The Boyfriend and The Crash. I want to read more thrillers this year, and Frida McFadden is quite like an easy to digest author. So I picked these up. Again, as I said, they were like all £1 on Vinted. And Crash actually has the sprayed edge from the works, which is quite cool. But yeah, so I have these. Quite excited to read them at some point. Watch me not read them. But that is it for now. I do have a few more books on the way because I cannot stop myself from buying books. So I have a few from K.I. Stevens. I think I've got Wintering. Is it called Springtide? It's like a series that I've bought from them. If they arrive in time, I'll definitely show them in this video. And then I've also bought the Bourbon and Lies series, the trilogy. I kind of love me remember who wrote them. It's Victoria something. But I've got those on the way as well. I think that's it for books I've got on the way. And then an update I did want to give actually. I read my first book of 2026. I read the arc of Drive Me Crazy by Lizzie Dent, which is a Formula 1 romance between the team principal and the main driver. And I absolutely adored it. I gave it a 4.5. If it wasn't my first book of the year, I probably would have given it a 5-star, but I feel like my first book of the year, I need to like play it cool for a little bit. But it was so much fun. It comes out on the 6th of January, so I think this video will be out after that, so it's definitely available now. And it was just so fun. It was childhood friends to lovers, obviously workplace, and like a teeny tiny bit enemies to lovers because they didn't get on at first because of like their past. It was so good. I really loved it. Really loved it actually. And it name dropped some of the real life drivers and teams in a way that just felt so natural. Like she mentioned Daniel Ricciardo. I'm a Danny Rick gal. He's my favourite. I'm delusional and I think he's gonna come back. He won't, but I want him to come back. So read that, 4.5 star, highly recommend it. And as I mentioned, my second book of the year is Project Hail Mary. So I'll give updates on that. And I think the next book I'm going to start actually, because I have a few arcs to read, is going to be Playing with the Cubes by, what's her name? Alexandria Bellefleur, I think her name is. I'm going to be reading that. And I think that's it for this clip. Maybe the next clip I'll talk through my new tattoos. You can kind of see a few of them. But I'd love to do an actual tattoo tour because I really love all of the tattoos I got. I got 11 in one hit. 11 in one sitting. And my arm really hurt afterwards because I got 8 of them on one arm. But that's it for this clip, and I'll see you probably tomorrow with another update. Okay, so sauce for the whack hair. I've just had a bath, but I thought now was a good time to show you the tattoos I got recently. A few of them are bookish, which is why it's linking into this bookish vlog. And you may have seen little snippets of them in previous clips, but I'm gonna talk through the ones that I've got now. If at any point you guys would like a full tattoo tour, I'm happy to give one because I have quite a few now. I think I've got 23, I think. But I'll start with this arm because I've got less on it. So this prophecy ball is new, and this is a link to The Prophecy by Taylor Swift. It's one of my favorites, and that song really makes me think of Lily Potter, and I love Lily Potter. She's like, people don't get it when I say this, but Lily Potter is my favorite character in Harry Potter. I think she is such an icon and literally the driving force behind the entire thing. So that's that one. I've got an umbrella, and the amount of people that have said it's not for Umbrella Academy truly pisses me off, because it's actually for How I Met Your Mother. If you've watched that show, you know the umbrella is like a through line. So I got this one. They're also really red because I had second skin on them, and it was really irritating my skin, so I took it off early, but you can kind of see like where it was, but I promise they're fine. Then I got 8 tattoos on this arm. I will start with this little guy. I got a little ghosty with a planet. I love him very much. He's looking for a name. If anyone wants to name him, please put suggestions down below. I've then got a honey pot. This is kind of cringe. My boyfriend calls me Honey, and I grew up watching Winnie the Pooh, and my dad called me Piglet. So I was like, Winnie the Pooh, honey pots, being called Honey. So it just made sense. So there's that one. I also got a little heart-shaped lolly, because my cousin is called Lauren and we all call her Lollipop. So that is for my cousin. I've then got on the back of my arm, this is going to be a pain to show you. I've got a compass and a bow. These go together, and you can see the compass is pointing towards the bow. That is actually a reference to Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, where we've got Nolan's compass and Harriet's bows. So cute. And then the ones on my shoulder are going to be really tricky to show you, so I might end up putting a picture in, but we'll see how much I can show you just like this. Yeah, you can kind of see them. So I got a boat stamp for Mamma Mia. I've got, this is one of my favorites actually, I got a stamp of a rocket ship for Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And then again, this is not a Pokemon, it's not a Squirtle. It's just a turtle wearing sunglasses, but I showed it to my boyfriend and he was like, that's Squirtle, he's got Squirtle's glasses on. So it's not meant to be Pokemon. I do like Squirtle, but I'm not that big a fan of Pokemon enough to get a tattoo of it, so I can assure you it's not from Pokemon. But that's the ones I got on that arm. And then there's one you won't be able to see, but I got a wave here, which I just thought was cool. So that is part 1 of this clip. The next bit is actually going to be talking about my 2025 reading stats, because I didn't, like, there's not enough to talk about to give a whole video about it, so I just thought I'd talk through them here. I did like the most basic spread ever in my journal because I'm done with this journal now. But the stutter much. The total books I read in 2025 was 167. That is the highest amount I've read in any year. I got back into reading in 2022, and from then it has just been growing and growing, my total reads of the year. So I think 2022 I read maybe 16 books. 2023 I read 100 and, was it 100 something? It might have just been 100 because I stopped once I got to 100. Then 2024 I read 125, and then 2025 was 167, which is insane. And I do want to preface that by saying I didn't have a job for 2 months of 2025. I was very much like, I was part-time until April. I then did very, very odd bits and bobs of invigilating exams over May and June, and then I was unemployed for, was it just August? July and August I was basically unemployed, and then I've been back in pretty much full-time employment since September. So I've had a lot of free time this year to read. I do not anticipate being able to read that much this year because I will be obviously working, and I want to try and utilize the holidays. I work in a school, so obviously I get like weeks off at a time, and I want to utilize that to do things. Like February I want to learn to drive, so I want to do a driving course. April I want to go to Japan to visit my boyfriend. May I'm highly likely to go on holiday because it's my birthday. And then obviously the summer holidays is like 6 weeks, so I definitely want to go on holiday then. So if I can make that happen, I would love to, which means I'm not just going to be sitting around reading like I was in the 2 months I was not working last year. The remaining books on my TBR, as of January 1st, it was at 133. I now believe it is up to 135 because I've done a teeny weeny bit of book shopping already this year. I'm on the 3rd of January as I'm filming this. So it was at 133, now it's at 135. I had 23 5-star reads, which I know sounds like a lot, but when I've read 167 books, I feel like that's proportionally right. I DNF'd 11 books. My rule with DNFs, which I do mention in a couple of videos, if I've read more than 100 pages of a book and then I DNF it, it counts towards my reading goal. That's enough that I'm happy to count it. Like that's a chunk of time I've invested into reading that book for it to account for nothing. So that's that. And I reviewed 30 arcs, which I thought was quite cool because I've never been an arc reviewer before. I signed up for NetGalley last year and I was absolutely blown away by how many I got approved for. I really didn't think I'd get any. So that's the stats, and then I thought I would also mention my top 5 reads of last year. So number 1 is anybody surprised when I say it is Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. Absolutely one of my favourite books I've ever read. It follows Lenny, whose best friend has passed away, and she's really struggling in day-to-day life and finding that spark again. And she ends up nannying for this single mum and this, I think she's 8, an 8-year-old girl, sounds about right. And the uncle of this 8-year-old is Miles, who has also been through a huge loss, and he ends up helping Lenny follow like a bucket list almost that her and her friend made together of things that she needs to do to get back on track. It was absolutely gorgeous. I adored it. I listened to it on audiobook. Highly recommend that. It was incredible. So definitely that is my top read of last year. Then second, and again this shouldn't surprise anyone based on the tattoo I just showed you, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't even know what to say. That was my first Taylor Jenkins Reid book ever, and it has genuinely scared me for the rest of them because my reaction to that book was absolutely, it was mental. I have a time lapse of it and I'm never ever gonna post it because it is genuinely the ugliest video of me I've ever taken. I'm like full on having a panic attack crying at this book. So obviously it had to be high up on this list. That's another one actually that I buddy read with Beth, who I read Emily Wilde with. So very different books that we read there, very different reactions to the 2 books we've read together. But I adored that. Then these next 2 I've actually already mentioned in this video because I read them both in December, so I don't know if this is genuinely where I rank them or if it's recency bias. But at number 3 I've got The Second Death of Locke, which is obviously a fantasy book, another one I listened to on audiobook, and I just thought that the world building, the backstory, the way the characters were written, you could really tell that they had strong feelings for each other and had a strong connection. Not even romantic feelings necessarily, but you knew they were very, very close with each other and would do anything to protect the other one. And I think that is so difficult to get right in a fantasy book. Sometimes it comes across a bit, I don't even know how to explain it. It just comes across a bit cringe sometimes, or like the man has this desperate need to protect the woman, and that wasn't how this felt at all. It felt like a relationship built on respect, and their partnership was very, very skilled. I just thought it was so beautiful, and again, I was absolutely gagged at some of the plot happening in this book. Highly recommend it. I cannot wait for the sequel to come out next year. I really hope, I think I've said this already in this video, but I really hope that Illumicrate have a version coming out, because I adore my Illumicrate copy of the second Death of Block, and I would love them to match. Coming in at number 4, I've then got The Other Side of Now by Paige Harbison, another book that I read in December and I was completely blown away by once again. So this one follows a very famous actress. She is struggling with her acting and all of the things and expectations on her in Hollywood, and her final straw is that her boyfriend is cheating on her at her own birthday party. So she ends up booking a flight to Ireland to go and see the town she could have lived in if she'd chosen to go to university there. And I don't know how to explain it, it's a really hard one to explain. So in her normal life, she's this very famous actress. Her best friend has died 15 years ago and she didn't attend this university. She gets to Ireland and this town that the university was in, and everyone's already acting like they know her, and it turns out that she has gone into the life she could have been living if she'd gone to the university, and lo and behold, her best friend is still alive and living in that town. It's a two lives situation. Like, there's I don't know what I can say without spoiling it. It's so good. Basically what I'm saying is you need to read this book. So there's that one. And then I didn't know what to put at number 5, but I feel like I've talked about it so much that it kind of had to be this book. I put Blood and Steel by Helen Shearer. It's the first book in the Legends of Thesmar series. I've banged on about it since I read it. I'm obsessed still with the entire world that it's set in. I still love, to this day, Cal and Kip are my favourite characters in a book, and they aren't even the main characters, they're just side characters, they're friends, they're found family in this book, and I fucking adore them. So Blood and Steel, the Legends of Thesmar in general, follows Thea, who wants to be a war sword, which is their like big warriors. But there is a prophecy that has been stated that a woman wielding steel, so like a sword, will bring the downfall of the kingdoms. But Thea's been wielding steel her whole life and nothing's happened. So she kind of says fuck it and asks to be a war sword anyway and get trained. And there's a whole appeal for it to happen. And after an event involving an assassination attempt, she ends up being granted the training, granted permission to train to become a war sword. So that's the setup. We've then got Wilder Hawthorne, who is the love interest in this, and he already is a war sword and he ends up being Thea's mentor. So that's the dynamic we have. It's so well written, it is so entertaining, it is quick, it is easy. As I mentioned, there's a found family with absolutely adorable characters called Cal and Kip, who we love very much on this channel. It's just so well done. I really enjoyed it, and I actually cannot wait to go into, I think it's called The Ashes of Thesmar. It's the like spin-off series about Thea's sister Ren. Very excited for that one. But that is my top 5. Obviously all of those were 5 stars. Again, let me know if you want a full video on everything I gave 5 stars this year. I was thinking of doing it, and I was going to separate them out into genuine 5 stars, 6-star reads. So for me that would literally, I think, just be Promise Me Sunshine and Atmosphere this year. They're my 6-star reads. And then ones that I would probably lower to a 4 or 4.5 because I either can't remember the plot enough to validate it being a 5, or for varying reasons. And then just like 5 stars that are based off vibes. So like, what's a good example of that? I think It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan is a really good example of a book that I gave 5 stars just for good vibes. Good vibes. Like there's a few good lines, like love is made over breakfast. Is that the line? There's good quotes in it, but primarily it's just a good time to read. So that is all of my end of year stats for 2025, and as you know, I do journal. So I thought I would show off my pages for 2026 before I end out this video, because I think they're really cute actually. I don't do anything fancy, I do just use felt tips and colour in pages basically. So I've got my 2026 starter page. It says the best time for new beginnings is now, and I really love this, like, I think it's Y2K, like Y2K aesthetic I've done over here. Then the next page that we've got is monthly highlights. So I'm going to write out at least one good thing that I do or something that happens each month. My reading tracker. Then we've got my entire physical TBR written out by hand, so I can see how much of it I actually read. So that's split up into romance, fantasy, mystery and lit fic. Then TBR stats, so you can see here January 1st I started on 133, and we'll see by January 1st 2027 how many books I end up with. I did write 2026 though, that's annoying. We've got a page of all the books I've pre-ordered, so you can kind of see January's quite a heavy month of pre-orders, but two of them I ended up ordering Game Changer and Heated Rivalry, because I don't want to miss out on that. I have FOMO for it so bad right now. I thought the books were already out, but then they're pre-order on Waterstone, so I don't know what's happening there. Then I've got a romantasy bingo board to do. I've also got, and this is so ugly now that I look at it, I've got trope bingo. So these are all obviously book shapes, and they've got little tropes written in them, so I can tick them off. You can see my first read of the year, I coloured in workplace, because obviously it was the F1 workplace romance. I've got my 26 to read in 2026. I've got a sneaky peek of the YouTube plan. It's nothing massively set in stone, but it's things like reading new releases each month, 10 book takedown, because that's my favourite thing to film. I kind of just want to jack everything else in and just focus on 10 book takedowns, because like my favourite channels ever, like my favourite channels to watch, obviously Ellen Catherine, I love her very much, but she does not fall into this category. Gavin Reads All and Becca in the Books do massively long videos with Shelve It or Scrap It for Becca and Emboss or Toss for Gavin. He actually does really long videos for basically everything, and I absolutely adore him for that, because they are my favourite thing to watch. Like, just put it on in the background, read with it, tidy my room to it. They're just so fun. I would love to be one of the YouTubers that could do long content like that consistently, because I love my 10 book takedowns. That was heavily inspired by Shelve It or Scrap It. I don't know what else I did. Oh, my really long book hauls. They're kind of the two that I find are the longest. So again, so many things to let me know in the comments. I might even put a poll on my Instagram, or maybe I'll put it to my book club that I'm in, because they're quite good and actually respond, whereas on Instagram I don't really get too much interaction from you guys. My Instagram will be linked down below, and my Vinted as well will be linked down below, so please do interact with me on Instagram if I put up a poll or anything, or anytime I have YouTube stuff to ask. I never know who to ask it to, so but I might put a poll up to someone about whether or not I should switch to just doing 10 book takedowns. Like, I've got a video coming up where I'm reading books recommended by a friend, and I've gone through and I've found some more books that she's liked that I own, that I might just make a massive 10 book takedown in honour of her. And I fear she's going to watch this before I make that, so she knows who she is. She will definitely find out about this, and it will no longer be a surprise. But let me know if you want more 10 book takedowns, is basically what I'm trying to say, because I love them very much. I've got some months where I could do like a whole video reading arcs, because I've got so many to do. TBR diaries, I want to bring that back, but equally 10 book takedown is kind of doing the same thing. And finishing series, I have so many series. Again, I've planned out a 10 book takedown of just series that I can finish, literally where I've got maybe 1 or 2 books left, and I could just like that finish the series. So that is a plan. Then I've got my January spread. I think this is really cute. I made it look like Christmas lights, because it's The Line from Lover by Taylor Swift. We can leave the Christmas lights up till January. That's what that made me think of. So with this, I don't do anything too crazy. I've just got like a place to put important things that are happening, my TBR, my wrap up, and what I want to upload on YouTube each month. I've got a winter TBR. This is carried over from my 2025 journal, because winter to me is like halfway through November, December, January, halfway through February. That's my winter months. Then again, nothing in here yet, but a page to put all my 5 stars. It's kind of ugly, but got that. That's a personal page. I've got DNF Graveyard. I've got a place for the book club I'm in, which is Ellen Catherine's on Discord and Patreon. And then a little space down here to write down what books I get in the Afterlight subscription to see if it's actually worth me still being on it. Yeah, and then a little page for my ARC reviews. I think that's everything. Yeah, so a little place for my ARCs that I get each month. I've only written in the ones for January and February so far in case I get any others, but I've got 4 to review in January, so I kind of really hope I don't get any more. But that's it for my 2026 journal. I'm very excited about the pages I've made so far. I do keep adding pages, which is really annoying because I tried to do it where all of the like generic pages were first and then we get into January, and I've already messed that up. So that is it for this video though. I hope you have enjoyed. I have no idea how long this one's going to be because I really did speed run talking about my December wrap up. But as said, pretty much all of those, if not literally all of them, were in videos already, so I didn't feel the need to talk about them again. But with that said, I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you next week with another video.